This video is going to go over using results from the DSBS and combining that with the USA Spending API to look up government contracts awarded to small businesses. And you can use this as potential partnerships, finding companies that are familiar with doing government contracting and developing teaming arrangements with them for further revenue growth. Okay, so you're going to start out inside of the DSBS, the Dynamic Small Business Search on the SBA site, and we're going to go to our filters. And the next code we're going to use is 541330. And let's go ahead and update some of this stuff. We want companies that have updated their profile within the past year, and we want to focus on companies that are in California. I'll give that a second to load. Okay, so we have 3,001 small businesses that meet these criteria. This isn't a video on how to use the DSBS, but there's other filters here where you can narrow it down if you want to partner with a particular certified company, if you need a particular ISO standard here. And in construction, you could look for companies with a certain bond level if you need to partner with a company in California for a project, or whatever state you're searching in, and say, hey, who out there has the bonding level we need to do a project for the government. All different types of filters here. But for the purpose of this video, because we're really going to use the first 20 anyway, this is fine. So we're going to export this. The one thing you want to do is scroll down and make sure that you do get the UEI and the phone number. Those are the two most important ones. You can get whatever other information you want, but for this to work, you absolutely must have the UEI. So we're going to export the results to the CSV, and then I'm just going to go through saving that, and then I'll open that whenever it's ready to go. Okay, so we have this is the downloaded results. You can see that we have 3,001 companies here to search for. We're not going to search for all those. You could search for all those. For this video, we're not going to search for all those. You do see that we have the UEI over here. It's tied right there, and that's really all we need. You could do this with the business names, but I'm just going to do this with the UEIs here. What we want to do is we're going to open a new file, and then go back over to that, and we're just going to take the top 20. So we're going to go down to row 21 because the header is the UEI. Control C, go over there, and paste that in there, and then we just want to change this to UEI. And I'm going to save this as a CSV file using UTF-8 format, and then I'll open back up into the IDE and start running the program to find the award amounts. Okay, so this is saved as a CSV UTF-8 file format so that the program can recognize it. And we're going to go ahead and close this and switch over to the IDE. Okay, so we're in the IDE, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with a header check, because one of the problems is that sometimes that download, it'll create these characters to the left of it, left of the UEI codes, and we want to make sure that program can read it with no errors. Because if you leave those characters in there, they're called BOM characters. If you leave those in there, it'll throw error code. So what we're going to do is we want to make sure that our file name matches what the name of our file name in the program matches our file name in the folder. So we're going to do a directory, and we can see that we need to check the UEI raw here, and let's see if we get any of those weird characters here. So we'll just change up this file name here. And you want to save that, commit it to the file, commit your changes to the file, and then we're going to do Python. Okay, you can see we got these weird characters over here to the left of that. So we need to clean that up. So we can clear this out, and we're going to go over to clean the CSV program over here, and just always check that your file name and your program matches your file names that you're trying to open in the here. Okay, so we got UEI raw.csv, UEI raw.csv. We're going to export it as cleaned UEI list. That's fine. That's a fine file name. And then we're going to do okay, so that should be done. And then if we do another directory call, we should see cleaned UEI list right there. And let's just check that it worked. Make sure that the UEIs export. Okay, so we can see that the UEIs did export over, so that's good. We can close this. We're going to go back to header check, and we're going to change out the file name to match the file name of the list we just created, which is cleaned underscore UEI underscore list.csv. Save, commit it to the file, and then okay, and you can see that we do have the special characters removed. So this cleaned UEI list is ready to be run by the full check. Okay, so we're going to go over here, and we have our input file is going to be the cleaned UEI list. Our output file, let's change this to UEI results.csv. And our payload that we're going to send to the USA Spinning API is going to be for contracts awarded between the year 2021 and 2025. And that should be it. Let's go ahead and, we need to save this so that we get the right code run, and should be ready to go. Okay, so that's running. And the thing to know is that the USA Spinning API, it throttles out and it kind of stops after 4,800. I've run this before using over 5,000 companies, and at 4,800 it just seemed to keep throwing back error messages, even with a delay built in, where every 100 that I would do, I would give it a break so that it would push out the time it took over an hour, because the limit is supposed to be 5,000, but at 4,800 it would just keep getting errors. So you can see that we got our command line back. That means that it should be done. So if we call it the directory, we should see the new UEI results right here is what we called. So we're going to go ahead and open that up and then inspect it and make sure that we did get what we want. Okay, so we can see that we have our UEI over here, and we get the amount of government contract awards based on, the total contract value over here. Okay, so this is ready to go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go just back into our IDE here, and we're going to go ahead and open our SBS export. Yep, we want to open that up, because this is our source document with all of our phone numbers and contact information for the companies. Let's go over here. We're going to, if this was 3,000 companies or 5,000 companies or however many companies you did, it's the same process, just scaled up. So we're going to copy all that, go over here, and we're going to paste that. And let's clean this up real quick. Just get rid of that. And then stretch this out, and let's stretch these out just so we can see our headers here. And we're going to go over here to the UEI category, and we're going to add an empty column over here, because we need to load the results of the amounts awarded into this column here, so that we know how much money each company has received. So we're going to do total awarded, and we're going to use the lookup, XLOOKUP. Okay, so our XLOOKUP, our lookup value is going to be the UEI for the companies, and then the lookup array is going to be all the UEIs over here, and then the return array is going to be the total amount awarded. And because we're doing number formats here, just go ahead and add in a 0 for if not found. and then fill that down. Okay, so we get this error message here where omits adjacent cells. That's fine. So we're going to ignore that error. And then we can add some formatting here. And we can see this is pretty much lined up across the board here as far as the amounts awarded and the UEI. Now, the last thing you want to do is that because this is formula driven and we don't want all this extra data over here in our table, you want to go ahead and highlight all this. And if it's 3,000 or 5,000 companies, it's the same process. We're going to do Control C, and then you can do Alt H for home, V for paste, S for paste special, and then U for values and number formats. And it's going to remove the formulas, and you're just going to be left with the hard-coded numbers in there. And then you can go over here and you can delete out all this information over here. Then what we want to do, so go ahead and save this because it's still acting as a CSV. You can convert this to an XLSX file if you want. And we're going to do Control T. My table has headers. And now you can easily sort this largest to smallest, so you can prioritize what companies you're calling here. And so you can see that Innocence company here has received the most amount of contracts at 10.2 million. And you got their phone number, the address, email address, point of contact. And this makes it a lot easier to reach out to these individuals and inquire about their willingness to partner on government contracts. Perhaps they could be a mentor to your company. Some of these companies can be a small company and still have 400 employees and still be a small company. And if you are a company with 10 employees and you're looking to grow into government contracting, this would be a great way to find mentors or partners to expand your revenue growth into government contracting. So that's pretty much it. And I hope you find this useful, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.